Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome. It's now time for the featured bout of the evening. From the four corners of the world, to the four corners of this ring, the fight starts now!
Well, there is the East Winter Gardens in London. What a day we've had in the city today. And it is weigh-in day ahead of tomorrow night's heavyweight clash between Derek Chisora and Kubrat Pulev, live from the O2 Arena on Dazn. Chris Lloyd here with Darren Barker, and a rare treat, we've got the former unified cruiserweight world champion and heavyweight world champion David Hay joining us, fresh off another long holiday. Good to see you, mate. Looking well.
I'm feeling well. Looking forward to tomorrow night.
I'm going to get you, so just put your mic a little bit higher, just because it's going to get pretty noisy in here.
Okay, makes sense.
Now, if anybody has an extensive history with tomorrow night's headliner, it is you.
No more than me. We've been there, ups and downs, rolling around on the floor. We fought each other. I managed him. I've been there for pretty much all of his sparring sessions. I know Derek Chisora very, very well. And what I saw upstairs, I went and had a good catch up with him. He's on good form. He's on as good form as you could possibly hope for Derek Chisora. Yeah. He's calm.
Does it get any more important for Del to win this fight tomorrow night? He's talking about being in the game, fighting whoever, but he wants to fight at the top level, doesn't he?
Yeah, his last 3 fights, 2 fights against Parker, Usyk, great energy, great effort. I thought he won the first Parker fight. I thought he lost the second one, but I thought he beat Usyk as well. Top tier fighters, Parker, WBO former heavyweight champion, Usyk, current unified heavyweight champion of the world. He pushed him to the wire. 7 rounds to 5, he lost that fight and 2 scorecards. So he's world class. He's ready to really take that next step, but he needs to beat Pulev. Pulev is he's no just random European fringe fighter. The only guys to beat him, Vladimir Klitschko and Anthony Joshua, and he was in the fights. I remember the first round with Klitschko, with Vladimir. He hit him with a lead left hook and buzzed him. I remember him buzzed him, thinking, okay, he's in the fight, and both Klitschko and AJ knew they were in the fight. Both of them at the end of the fight, they knew they had a fight. And against the fringe level, Pulev chews through them. Look at his record.
Yeah.
But against the prime Derek Chisora, who's motivated and is in shape, you're going to get a real war.
Are you surprised, given that you guys fought, must be a decade
10 years ago
now,
yeah.
right? Like that rainy day at Upton Park. The longevity that he's had, given the way he actually fights.
Yeah, he's made of different stuff. He's like, we're completely, genetically, we're very, very different. Yeah. He's a tank. He is a tank who just keeps marching forward. I'm more like
you pick up injuries.
I'm like a panther sort of thing where I jump around, but he's more like a rhino.
I was a snail.
You there? and that's it. So he's just robust. Shots that he takes would probably put me in a coma, bounce off him.
Do you think that's his mentality, his way of thinking?
He knows it.
It's pushed him beyond where he probably. Yeah.
He knows his strengths. He knows the type of style he can. I couldn't fight with his style. It wouldn't work for me. I'd just get destroyed. I had to slip pretty much every punch. I had to be so fast, and I had to maintain that speed throughout the whole fight. Otherwise, I'd come unstuck. He doesn't. He just knows I'm gonna keep marching forward, round after round, and every round you might win the first, second, third, but in the fourth, I'm gonna keep churning. And you're going to start flagging. And when you start flagging, I'm going to start landing more shots. The more shots I land, the more tired you get. Now we're even. Yeah. Now who wants to fight with no energy now? Derek can fight on empty. When he's completely exhausted, he finishes rounds completely and utterly exhausted. Sits down, gets up, he's ready to go again. Not many people have his powers of recovery.
Because obviously you weren't a natural heavyweight. You're a big guy, but compared to some of the monsters these days, I know coming into that fight, you were picking the clean shots when you fought him. But as the fight was going on, you could see the pressure. What's his presence like?
His presence is like no other that I've fought before. And I knew that going into the fight. I weighed 15 stone for that fight. I was very small for that fight, but I had to be. There was no need me bulking up trying to match him for size. He's going to win that game all day long. So I had to make sure when he did get into range, I had to tie him up and walk him back. So I practiced to do that. tie him up and walk him back because no one was expecting me to be able to push him back in the clinches. So I had to play a different game with him. Now, after all these years, I've explained to him what I did to have success against him, and he's tightened up all of those little gaps that were in his arsenal in the past. So he's a lot more well-rounded now than he was then. Although he's older, a lot more miles on the clock, a few more losses, he's a better fighter now. I'd have much preferred to fight the 28-year-old Derek Chisora than the 37-year-old Derek Chisora.
So experienced now, isn't he? It's quite obvious, I think, how Dell's got to approach this fight. On the other side, how does Pulev win this fight?
Pulev needs to somehow keep Derek Chisora off of his chest. When Derek Chisora is effective is when he's close, when he's allowed to hit round the back of the head, round the kidneys, all those little shots that don't look much to the layman, but when you're in there against a guy, solid 18-stone man, pinging you with those tiny little 10-ounce gloves, there's not much padding in those knuckles, it starts to mark you up, it starts to drain your energy. So he needs to somehow keep Derek Chisora at bay. But what's Derek Chisora done really recently? He's learnt to get inside. Joseph Parker's got a great jab. He was able to get inside that. I believe he can get inside Pulev's. But is Pulev treating this fight as one of the toughest fights of his life? Is he training as hard as he did for Klitschko or AJ? Or is he looking at Derek Chisora's last 3 fights thinking, he's lost his last 3 fights, if I can't beat him, then what's it about? The mindset of both fighters coming in here is very, very important. And I don't know Pulev. I don't know where his head's at. I know Derek Chisora is ready to go to war, but it's all up to Pulev.
Certainly is. Thank you very much, David. Well, one of Derek Chisora's young charges, Yusuf Ibrahim, Northampton boy, good amateurs, looking to have his second pro fight on Saturday night. He is ready to weigh in. We're ready to get the show underway. So let's head over to the stage.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon and welcome to the East Winter Garden here in Canary Wharf, London, England, for the official weigh-in for a big night of world-class professional boxing taking place on Saturday night at the legendary O2 Arena. It's all being brought to you courtesy of Mr. Eddie Hearn of Matchroom Boxing, and all the action will go out live around the world exclusively on Dazn. We're sponsored by Betfred, FCI Markets, Tom, and JD Sports. It's a great fight card. We've got 8 fights on the card. We have 3 title fights. We have 1 world title eliminator, and we have 2 rematches. Of course, at the top of the bill, we've got the big men, Derek War Chisora and Kubrat the Cobra Pulev. They'll do it again. So ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let's go ahead and start this weigh-in. Let's go ahead and bring the fighters up to the stage so they can face the scale and face each other. Our first contest, 4 rounds in the super bantamweight division. Now making his way to the stage, please welcome Francisco Rodriguez. And his opponent now making his way to the stage, fighting out of Northampton, here's the Yusuf Ibrahim. Ibrahim. Now to the scale, Francisco Rodriguez. £121 and 1 ounce for Francisco Rodriguez. And now to the scale, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Yusuf Ibrahim. £120.1 for Yusuf Ibrahim. 120.1 for Yusuf Ibrahim.
Guys on the line, please. Brace the pump, please.
Ibrahim versus Rodriguez, 4-round super bantamweights, O2 Arena, Matchroom Boxing, live on Dazn.
Ibrahim, very good amateur, record of 44 and 36, trained by his uncle CJ Hussein, met Derek Chisora through his nephew, and now Chisora, of course, managing him, giving him good opportunities. Flashy young kid, a little bit of Nassim Hamid.
Yes, there is Naz about him. I was impressed with his debut. Full of confidence. Obviously, this is another tune-up fight for him to learn his trade, etc. But they're going to be tougher tests for him. He's got to get his chin down a little bit, but he's a good talent.
Good stuff. Solomon Dakers in action as well on Before the Bell. He is ready to weigh in his opponent. It's going to be weighing in a little bit later on this afternoon. So let's head back to David.
Ladies and gentlemen, our next contest, 8 rounds in the heavyweight division, and now making his way to the stage. He's undefeated as a professional, 3 fights, 3 victories, fighting out of Birmingham, England. Please welcome the real deal, Solomon Dakers. Dakers. 230.1 pounds for the big man, Solomon Dakers. His opponent will be weighing in later.
Solomon Dakers second on Before the Bell. Looking good, only 3 fights in, David, but a lot of promise, this kid.
Yeah, good amateur pedigree, nice and loose. Puts his hands together, and definitely one to look out for the future. Without a doubt. Yeah,
Darren dealt with Kamil Sokolowski in his third fight with a lot of ease, didn't he, given the kind of upsets that man has caused and the kind of problems he's given some of the other contenders.
I think a lot of people, especially within the game, thought that was going to be a harder fight than he made it. He breezed it, didn't he, if I'm honest, and that was a big statement, in my opinion.
We're hearing there potentially is a swap on the main card. We'll have that confirmed a little bit later on. Ramla Ali will be on the main bill. Fabio Wardley, we think, may be on Before the Bell. So just waiting to hear who's going to weigh in next, and then we'll head back to the stage. But the action does kick off with Kevin Aguilarco against Lucas Matsec. They did a little round robin seeing who could spell Keeman correctly. I got it in 1. How did you get on?
Yeah, well, you're an intelligent man, aren't you?
David's like, please don't ask me.
I missed out by 1 letter. I forgot the I. That was it. But yeah, it's a tough name to spell.
Yeah, his first fight, 154 pound, coming down against Lucas Matsec, who Fowler fought before he went up to 160. Should be a good test this for Aguilarco.
Yeah, I mean, I've been very impressed. I know we both have with Aguilarco. Yeah. I mean, how he's got down is remarkable, but apparently he was only 2 pounds over two days ago. So it shows he's done the weight fairly comfortably. I think his win against Larios is a very good win. So, an exciting talent for sure. I want to see him push on now because he ain't far off fighting for big titles, I think.
Yeah, well, that's all to come. But next up, more fighters to weigh in Before the Bell. I don't know who they are, so we're going to find out. Let's head back to the stage.
Ladies and gentlemen, our next contest, 8 rounds in the heavyweight division. And now set to make his way to the stage. He is undefeated as a professional. His record, 13 fights, 13 victories, 12 of them coming by way of knockout. He fights out of Ipswich. Please welcome the reigning and undefeated English heavyweight champion, Fabio Wardley. Wardley. .238 pounds, bang on for Fabio Wardley. 238 pounds.
Well, Fabio Wardley, one of the best young heavyweight prospects, the current English champion.
Fabio Wardley from Ipswich, his opponent will weigh in later. 13-0, 12 knockouts, Fabio Wardley.
And I think the plan for him is to fight for the British title against Nathan Gorman a little bit later on this year. And David, we were just discussing that for the lack of amateur experience, how good this guy's looked. But of course, we know he's gone and done full camps with Alexander Usyk, Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury, some of the best fighters in the world. That will stand him in very, very good stead.
That sparring far surpasses even international level amateur fights. The fact he's in there with professional heavyweight champions, current, past, future. He's learning his craft in the toughest possible way you can. Coming with no amateur pedigree and jumping straight in there with the big boys, the world elite, and holding your own. Being called back to those training camps shows exactly how good he is. Way more than any, oh, this guy's an Olympic champion or he's a Commonwealth champion. The fact that he's mixing it up, if he can convert what he does in sparring into the ring when the lights are on, it really matters. Yep. He's got everything that's needed.
Well, so far so good for Fabio Wardley, and so far so good for this young man as well. Belfast Kevin Aguilarco wants to become the next Irish sensation. He is ready to weigh in for the first time at 154 pounds, so let's not delay him any further.
Ladies and gentlemen, the official weigh-in continues. Our next contest, 10 rounds for the vacant WBA International Super Welterweight Championship. Set to make his way to the stage, his professional record, 28 wins, 4 defeats, 1 draw. He has 5 wins coming by way of knockout. He fights out of Lublin, Poland. Please welcome Lucas Crazy Cat Matsec. And his opponent now making his way to the stage. His professional record, a perfect one, 11 fights, 11 victories, 7 of them coming by way of knockout. He fights out of Belfast, Northern Ireland. Here is the 6-time amateur national champion and the former WBA international middleweight champion. Please welcome Kevin Black Thunder Aguilarco. Now to scale, Crazy Cat, Lucas Matsec. 154, bang on for Lucas Matsec, 154 pounds, bang on. And now to the scale, the undefeated Black Thunder, Kevin Aguilarco.
Dangerous.
153.12 ounces, 153 pounds and 12 ounces for Kevin Aguilarco. Kevin Aguilarco, Lucas Matsec, 10 rounds for the vacant WBA International Super Welterweight Championship. Matchroom Boxing live on Dazn from London, England.
Well, he knows how tough the man is in front of him after that distance fight with Anthony Fowler. And I think at the beginning of the week when we saw him and he was in a buoyant mood, we were, I guess, just waiting to see how he looks and how he seemed today. He looks well.
He looks fresh. He doesn't look weight drained at all. Like I say, 2 days ago he was only 2 pounds, like you say, full of energy, full of life, and I think we're seeing that now. And I've been very impressed with Kevin, I really have. And if he can maintain that strength and that punching power at super welterweight, he's going to be a handful.
Yeah, if he can maintain the natural attributes like you had at cruiserweight, speed, of power and endurance, it's probably going to be the right weight division for him.
A lot of people lose some snap, lose some endurance when they move down in weight. If, as you said, he can maintain what he was doing at middleweight, you know, he's going to find it so much easier. The punches are not going to be as hard. You know, that it's not going to be as
Push him
physically
around,
grueling.
yeah.
He's going to then seem significantly stronger than most light middles around or super welterweights. You know, I'm really looking forward to seeing how he really adapts to this new weight.
Yeah, well, we'll see how he gets on. Kevin Aguilarco, Lucas Matsec, over 10 opening the bill on Dazn tomorrow night. Felix Cash back in action after a really tough fight last time out. He's in against Vaughan Alexander, brother of Devon. Really interesting story, him coming off a great win over Luis Arias. Both fighters are ready to weigh in, so let's head back to David Diamante.
Ladies and gentlemen, our next contest, 10 rounds for the WBA International Middleweight Championship. Is set to make his way to the stage right now. Please welcome the challenger. His professional record, 17 victories, 6 defeats, 1 draw. He has 10 wins coming by way of knockout. Fighting out of St. Louis, Missouri, USA, please welcome the animal, Vaughan Alexander. And his opponent now making his way to the stage. He is the defending titleist. His professional record, a perfect one. 15 fights, 15 victories, 10 of them coming by way of knockout. He fights out of Workingham, Reading. Here is the former British middleweight champion, the reigning Commonwealth, WBC International, and the defending WBA International middleweight champion, Felix Cash. Now to the scale, ladies and gentlemen, Vaughan Alexander. £158 and 11 ounces for Vaughan Alexander, the challenger. And now to the scale, ladies and gentlemen, the undefeated Felix Cash. £159 and 15 ounces for the undefeated Felix Cash. Ladies and gentlemen, our next contest, 8 rounds in the super bantamweight division. And now making her way to the stage, her professional record, 5 victories, only 1 defeat. Presentando de Monte Grande, Buenos Aires, Argentina. Please welcome Agustina, La Amazona Rojas. And her opponent now making her way to the stage. Her professional record thus far perfect, 5 fights, 5 victories, 1 of them coming by way of knockout. She fights out of London, England, by way of Mogadishu, Somalia. Please welcome Ramla Ali. And now to the scale, ladies and gentlemen, Agustina, La Amazona Rojas. £122 and 3 ounces for Agustina Rojas. And now to the scale, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the undefeated Ramla Ali. £122 and 14 ounces for Ramla Ali, 122.14. Ali versus Rojas, 8-round super bantamweights matchroom boxing live on Dazn.
Well, it's had a hell of a journey, Ramla Ali. Self-funded trip to both the world champs at the Olympic Games last year in Tokyo. Of course, underway as a pro, 5-0. Her opponent, Agustina Rojas, 5-1. Just 1 loss to Lauren Parker, who dealt with her fairly comfortably. She too, great amateur pedigree. Do you imagine that's how Ramla Ali will look to deal with her tomorrow night?
In all fairness, this is a formality. I think Ali should take care of her quite comfortably. Show us a bit of everything. That's what I'd like to see. I'd like to see a bit of spite as well. Sit down on the shots and try and get the finish. Don't get me wrong, her opponent's tough, but like I say, with her skill, her mentality, I think it's a comfortable night's work for her.
Okay, well, there's a big rematch. Chief support tomorrow night, Israel Madrimov, Michelle Soro, who did battle two of the top 154-pound contenders for Jamel Charlo's belt. It was a 9th round stoppage, but one that occurred about 10 seconds after the bell. They're rerunning it to see if things pan out any differently, and both guys are ready now to weigh in. Let's head back to the stage.
Ladies and gentlemen, our next contest is the first of our 2 rematches on the night, as Mr. Eddie Hearn of Matchroom Boxing, in association with World of Boxing, are proud to present 12 rounds for the WBA Super Welterweight World Title Eliminator. And now making his way to the stage, his professional record, 35 wins, 3 defeats, 1 draw. He has 24 big wins coming by way of knockout. He fights out of Lyon, France, by way of the Côte d'Ivoire. Here's the WBA Gold World Super Welterweight Champion, Michel Soro. And his opponent now making his way to the stage. His young professional record thus far perfect. 8 fights, 8 victories, 6 of them coming by way of knockout. He fights out of Indio, California, by way of Khiva, Uzbekistan. Here is the 2017 Asian Championship gold medalist, the 2018 Asian Games gold medalist, and the former WBA Intercontinental Super Welterweight Champion, Israel, the Dream Madrimov. And on the scale, ladies and gentlemen, Michel Soro. 153 pounds and 10 ounces for Michel Soro, 153.10. And now to the scale, the undefeated Israel, the Dream Madrimov. 153.12 for Israel, the Dream Madrimov, 153.12. The rematch, Israel Madrimov, Michel Soro, 12 rounds for the WBA Super Welterweight World Title Eliminator, Matchroom Boxing in association with World of Boxing, live on Dazn.
Yeah, going back to their last fight when the bell sounded but the referee didn't hear it, I've always thought that referees should have some sort of earpiece that is super clear and loud. They shouldn't be able to be overshadowed by the crowd screaming and shouting at a time when they should really be focused on what is actually happening in there. So I definitely think the referee should look at somehow.
Might be onto something there, mate.
It makes perfect sense. So you can hear the clack when they do the clack for the 10 seconds. That's clear. But sometimes the bell isn't. It's happened to me a couple of times.
Fighter, sometimes you're in that moment. You're thinking about fighting till the referee stops or till the bell.
Exactly. The same thing happened with me when I fought Derek Chisora. The bell sounded. There was so much noise and up to bark. No one heard it. The referee didn't hear it, and I took a big old shot after the bell. That could have knocked me out. And would that have been a clean knockout or not? He would have claimed it, but I'd have felt it shortchanged.
So one of the winner of this, of course, will be installed into that mandatory rotation for Jamel Charlo. I'm guessing Charlo will probably move up before he fights one of those. He's got 2 mandatories before he would get to his WBA, and the likelihood is he will go to 160 before then look for bigger fights, which I guess will still leave one of these two in the running to fight for a vacant belt. Either way, they're going to be next in line for the WBA title.
Without a doubt. And he's I think Madrimov goes into his fight the favourite. He was winning that last fight, but he is a danger man. He's got the ability and the know-how to cause them all problems.
Well, that is chief support of the O2 live on Dazn tomorrow night, and all roads then lead to the main event. 6 years after they first met, 2 of the biggest heavyweights in the world, Kubrat, Pulev and Derek Chisora, will clash in London tomorrow night. Here's what it means to the pair of them.
Big nights, big punches, but beneath the glamour is a simple reality. 2 warriors pushing their bodies to the limit. 2 of boxing's biggest characters meet again. Derek Chisora, bringing war, pain, and a love for this game.
I fucking love it.
Kubrat Pulev, fueled by his father's vision.
We start from here. Everything what my father said, true.
Chasing one last shot. 2,254 days later, the bell for round 13 will sound. And each second that passes brings us closer to July 9th.
Are you ready, Derek?
I swear to God, I'm gonna drop.
I'm coming! London!
And because time stops for no man, they must strive to make the days count.
Well, it got pretty spicy at the press conference yesterday. Bit of pushing, bit of pulling. Tempers just starting to fray a little bit, and now they'll come face to face just a few moments' time for the final time before they meet in the ring tomorrow night live on Dazn at the O2 Arena. And well, Derek Chisora's last fight, Darren, against Joseph Parker at the back end of last year, he started slowly. Parker was considerably better in the early stages than he was in the first fight. He hurt Derek early, and then I think there was a sense that he sort of let him off the hook. Derek kind of hypnotised him, went for a little wander from post to post, and Parker almost stood in the centre of the ring mesmerised, and actually maybe gave him a crucial extra 7 or 8 seconds to recover in that fight.
Yeah, it almost seemed to me as though Parker was having a breather. Derek put such an onslaught on that when Derek did want to take a break, he allowed him to take a break because he needed the break himself. So, you know, Derek, he's a wily old campaigner. He's been there many, many times before, and he needed a breather at that stage. So he went to the corner, got buzzed from a shot, walked to the corner, and Parker's probably thinking, oh, at least I can have a breath now, and at least I can recuperate and recover. And although I would have preferred Parker, if I was on Parker's corner, just to jump straight on him. Yeah. He didn't, and they were both able to recover. Very, very good, entertaining fight. But, you know, I definitely felt the second fight, Parker did better than the first fight. I don't think Derek's conditioning was as good in the second as it was in the first. And, you know, Parker definitely, he scraped that second fight for sure. But, you know, I believe Derek this time round is going to be more of the Parker from the first fight.
Great stuff. Well, we'll find out all tomorrow night. Both fighters now ready to weigh in, so let's not delay them any further. Derek Chisora and Kubrat Pulev. Here's David Diamante.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's a pleasure to welcome everybody here today to the East Winter Garden here in Canary Wharf, London, England, for the official weigh-in for a big night of world-class professional boxing taking place on Saturday night at the O2 Arena. And it's now time to weigh in the main event of the evening. It is the rematch, as Mr. Eddie Hearn of Matchroom Boxing, in association with Epic Sports and Entertainment, are proud to present 12 rounds of boxing for the WBA International Heavyweight Championship. And now making his way to the stage, please welcome his professional record, 29 victories, 2 defeats. He has 14 wins coming by way of knockout. He's fighting out of Sofia, Bulgaria. Here is the former European heavyweight champion, the former IBF International heavyweight champion, and the former WBA Intercontinental heavyweight champion, Kubrat, the Cobra Pulev. And And his opponent now making his way to the stage. His professional record, 32 victories, 12 defeats. He has 23 big wins coming by way of knockout. He is the former British heavyweight champion, the former Commonwealth heavyweight champion, the former European heavyweight champion, and the former WBO Intercontinental heavyweight champion, fighting out of Finchley, North London, England, Derek Chisora. All right, now to the scale, ladies and gentlemen, from Sofia, Bulgaria, Kubrat, the Cobra Pulev. $250 bang on for Kubrat, the Cobra Pulev, 250 pounds bang on. And now to the scale, Derek Chisora. $258.2 pounds, 258.2 for Derek Chisora. Derek Chisora, Kubrat, the Cobra Pulev. It's the rematch. 12 rounds for the WBA International Heavyweight Championship. Matchroom Boxing in association with Epic Sports and Entertainment, live on Dazn from London, England.
So Kubrat Pulev coming in at...
It's great to see that you've got a job so quickly. Derek, you said yesterday you were absolutely buzzing for this fight. How are you feeling now?
Thank you very much for coming. I'm excited. You know what? Just tune in tomorrow and you see what's going to happen.
We're calling this Total Carnage. Is that what you're promising to bring us tomorrow?
It's going to be worse than that, man. That's what I'm saying. I am ready to rock and roll, and I am going from the get-go.
We expect you to fight one way, and that is to bring it right from the start. Is that your plan tomorrow night?
I'm going to do worse. I'm just going to go.
And just finally, great support from everybody here this afternoon coming to see you. What's your message to all these fans here and everybody that's going to be watching tomorrow night?
I think Boris Johnson should stay in number 10. Yeah, no joking. Yeah, so tomorrow, listen, tune in on Dazn. Come watch me if there's tickets left, and you won't be disappointed. That's all I'm saying. You know, you're not gonna see put it this way, you're not going to be disappointed. That's all I'm saying. You know, I got so much to do, and I like to do it my way, and my way is either you knock me out or I'm going to keep going, bro. So you just trust me. That's what I'm saying.
Thanks, Derek.
Thank you, mate.
Well, I hope he has a better week than Boris Johnson's had. Hard to have a worse week, let's be perfectly honest. 258 pound, Derek Chisora. The heaviest has been since the David Price fight in 2019. Pulev, 250, bang on, which is kind of around where he's been. He was 239 for Joshua, but of course that was the opportunity of a lifetime. Anything to read into that weight for Derek?
Derek Chisora fluctuates around 15 pounds each fight sometimes. You can't tell what his strategy is going to be by his nutrition. I don't think it's that well thought out. I think he just eats well, he trains hard, and what he weighs is what he weighs. And I like that weight in him. He doesn't look like he's carrying any unnecessary excess like he has done in prior fights. He looks fit, he looks strong. You know, he sounds confident. You know, Pulev also looked nice and trim. He looked good. You know, with the heavyweights, I think you can take too much from what they weigh on the scales. You know, a big grub could be, they could eat 3 pounds of food in one sitting. You know, so it's not like a welterweight where someone doesn't make the weight or is 3 pounds under. This is a heavyweight, a big, massive heavyweight. And I watched Derek. He carries around a gallon bucket of water, effectively, where he is. He's constantly consuming water. If he didn't drink that for the day, he'll probably be 5 or 6 pounds lighter. So I like the weight on him. He looked good, and it means he's not going to be bouncing around on his toes trying to win off the jab. Yeah. He's coming forward like a tank, and he's grinding, and he's getting older. He is. As you get older, you start getting thicker, you start putting on weight. So I think both of them in the twilight of their career, but they're both seem in very, very good shape.
How do you see Kubrat Pulev approaching this fight? Now, similar to the first fight, or adjustments, knowing that Derek is a more ferocious competitor at this stage of his career?
I think ring position is important for Pulev. He can't be pushed back into the ropes and into the corner. I think he's got to try and keep Chisora on the end of those long levers. I think move round the middle, back to the centre of the ring, don't get backed up, like I say. And I think try and walk Derek Chisora onto something. The difference with Chisora, though, from their first fight is his mentality now. He's not doing this for titles, he's not doing it for anything other than entertaining the crowd. So what that allows him to do is probably get into his groove a lot quicker. Like he said there, he's not going to mess about. Trust me on this one. I'm going to, it's going to be fireworks. The important thing is when he gets close to Pulev, he's got to be moving his head. He can't just be walking in with his hands up because he will get caught with something in the way in.
Good stuff.
Yeah, Pulev's got a very, very educated, long jab. He's taller than Derek is. Very well schooled. Good amateur pedigree. European champion. Only lost to the very, very best. So he can't allow from his position, he can't allow Derek to get inside, because once Derek's inside, all he really has is a clinch. And it's not that easy to clinch Derek Chisora. He prides himself on people trying to clinch him. He has processes that are in place for when someone tries to clinch him. Yep. Unless he's looking at getting a breather himself, he can pull hands free, he can work inside.
That nullifies the threat of Pulev. When you get close, you're taking away his advantage, and he's a nightmare to beat. If you allow him inside, he's a tough man to beat.
He is, and you're 100% right. Pulev can't be put to the ropes and maintain. He's got to move off to the side. If he does get to the ropes, he's got to tie him up as best he can and turn him and find some space. Yeah. But it's easier said than done. Yeah. Derek's got a way of coming into range a lot quicker than you think. And when he's there, you go this way, there's a big shot coming this way, or you try and go this way, there's a shot coming here. So you've either got to fight with him or clinch him. And if Kubrat Pulev decides to hold his feet and start fighting off the ropes, it's going to get very, very excited very quick.
Very interesting. David, pleasure to have your company. Darren, great to have you as well. As always, we will be tomorrow live at 5:30 on Before the Bell, Matching Boxing's YouTube channel. Myself, Darren, and Barry Jones will be with us as well. I'm sure you'll be pleased to hear. Fabio Wardley, Solomon Dakers, Yusuf Ibrahim. And that will take us through to 7 o'clock local time. Keeping Aguilarco, Felix Cash, Fabio Wardley, Madrimov and Soro all setting the table very nicely for the big heavyweight clash. 6 years in the making, the rematch between Derek Chisora and Kubrat Pulev. O2 Arena, live on Dazn tomorrow night. We'll see you then.
Bye-bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome. It's now time for the featured bout of the evening. From the four corners of the world, in the four corners of this ring, the fight starts now!